Alright, so I'm going to show how to replace the rubber feet, the battery, as well as the right speaker on this 15-inch MacBook Pro. This is a 2012 model A1398. Alright, so first thing we're going to want to do is remove all the screws from the bottom. We'll do this using a Pentalobe P5 screwdriver. Alright, and then to take apart the Mac internally, the battery and everything else, we're going to need a Torx T5. So anyways, we're going to use the Pentalobe screwdriver first, and we'll remove all these screws. Okay, just like this. Alright, keep the screws in order because they are different size, shapes, and lengths. The way I do that is I have this rectangular pattern. I just put the screws in that pattern on my desk. Alright. Alright, and then we'll remove these four down here. Alright, after you remove all 10 screws, what we're going to do is we're going to pull the bottom cover off. So the way you do that is you go from up here. I'm going to switch my screwdriver to a T5 for later. But just go up here and then get your fingers under and just pull this up. Alright, this model has magnets holding it underneath. Oh wow, it's super dusty. So I'm going to clean this up and then I will be back. Alright, I'll see you guys in a bit. Alright, so I'm back, cleaned out the inside. Okay, so first thing you're going to want to do is disconnect the battery. So to do that, what you do, I'm going to tilt it up. Let me zoom in so you can see a little bit better. So the battery connector is right here. What you want to do, you can see actually there's the lip of the connector. You want to get your fingernail or pry tool and pull that up. Alright, and you want to do this on both sides. So normally what I would do is I would leave it on the table and then I would pull it up just like this. Alright, once you do that, let me zoom back out. Okay, once you do that, you'll want to open up the screen and then press and hold the power button for about 10 to 15 seconds. This will drain any power, so there's less risk of damage if you were working on these computers. Okay. Alright, we're also going to, I guess I'll replace the rubber feet first. So the rubber feet, the replacement ones, they'll be like this. As you can see, there's this little centerpiece and then there's one little part that sticks out in the corner there. Alright, so let me show you how this works. I'm going to move the MacBook aside for now. Alright, so here you can see on the bottom they put these, what do you call, just I guess like a plastic tape cover. When they break, as you can see, there's a plastic piece here and then there's actually another plastic piece on the other side. So the way Apple does it is they have two pieces that I think they click together, but the aftermarket ones that you replace, they don't come like that. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna take a T8 screwdriver bit. You can use whatever as long as it's like big enough to fit through this circle here, and we're gonna punch this through. Okay, so let me zoom in. You want to keep pressure on the back of the panel, so that way when you push it through, you're not putting too much stress and bending the panel. Alright, so you want to keep the force all around. And then we're just going to push this through, just like that. And here you can see this plastic piece came out. And then there's also this little circle there that came out with it. Alright, we don't really need this plastic cover that was in here anymore, so you can either throw it away, or if you want, you can take this plastic piece that came out off, and then you can actually just stick it back on if you want, but it's not really needed. A lot of times, actually, this plastic just tears and gets a hole in it, and you can leave this little plastic sticker there, but it doesn't really do anything. This one, I don't know if I'm going to replace it because it's kind of okay. It does look like it's broken underneath, so I don't know. I'll see if it comes off easily or not, actually. Okay, actually it did come off really easily. So we'll replace that one too. Okay, same thing with this one. Take the tool and just punch it through. Okay, just like that. Okay, throw away that little piece of plastic. All right, stick this back on just because we can. All right. I don't want the adhesive to be exposed, so I'm trying to line it up perfectly. All right, there we go. And then this other side, it doesn't have those rings, so it's definitely gonna just punch a hole through the bottom. So you'll see what I mean. I'm gonna punch this thing through. Okay, and here you can see it just punches a hole through the bottom here. Okay, so what you'll do, just go ahead, take that plastic little ring out, and then you can stick this back down. All right, I think if you go slow enough, you might be able to just peel the plastic up without it even tearing. But let's try. I'll push it out really slowly, okay? So let's push this through really slow. Okay, here we can see on the bottom, it already kind of made a hole in it. But yeah, if you want, you can try and peel up the adhesive too, but no, yeah, I'm just gonna make a hole through and punch it through. Okay, so there we go. We're just gonna take that out. Oops. All right, and then we got this little bump there. Okay, so now what you're gonna wanna do, you're gonna wanna clean out this old adhesive gunk. So you can use whatever you want. I just use my fingernails. You can use, I don't know, whatever, pry tools or whatever works for you. Something to scrape it. All right, same thing with the other side. We're just gonna do this with all four corners. Peel off this adhesive gunk. If it leaves some residue here, if it feels like slimy or gooey and gunky, then you'll want to actually use some rubbing alcohol, isopropyl alcohol, with a paper towel and just wipe off that gunk. Because if it's gooey like that and you put the replacement ones on top, it's just gonna slide around and fall off, okay? So make sure it's clean, okay? And we're just doing this with all four corners. And there are different feet for different models, so make sure that you get the right ones. As I mentioned earlier, this one has like the one little hole there. Some of them will have two holes, some of them will have none, and that's part of what keeps the foot from twisting around. Okay, so, oops, I'm gonna throw this stuff away. Okay. So I'm going to show you here. So let's start with this corner down here. Okay, just get these rubber feet here. So here you can see there's the one little dot. So you want to actually have that line up with the dot here. So the way I do that is I kind of look at it. I don't know if I'll be able to show this in the recording. It's hard to do, but you get it lined up. Let's see here. So you get that lined up and then you just roll it down and just put it in place just like this. All right, there we go. And then that should hold in place. You can see it's not really going anywhere. And we're just gonna do this with all 4 feet, okay? Same thing, grab that, hold it up, line that up, slowly lower it down. Okay, and then push that in place. And we're just gonna do this with all 4. Okay, same thing with this one. Get that, line it up, and then push it down. There we go. All right, and last one. Okay, line that up. Okay, and push that down. All right, so now we got all 4 rubber feet back in nicely. Let's zoom out. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and replace the battery as well as the right speaker. Since it's flipped over, it's going to be on the left side. This is actually the easier speaker to replace, or a little bit easier, because you don't have to completely remove the motherboard to get it out. But if you want, it makes it a little bit easier to get to if you do actually pull the whole motherboard out. So anyways, I'm going to show you here. Okay, so first thing we're going to do, I guess, let's see, speaker first or battery? We'll do the battery first. So to remove the battery, first thing you want to do, let's start up here. I'm going to zoom in. We're going to peel this piece up. So the way you can tell this is a 2012 model is this SSD is much bigger. Normally the newer models, the SSD is actually about the same size as this slot. All right, so we're going to peel this adhesive up. You want to keep this frame down. Okay, peel that up. And then there's a screw under here. Oops, we have to switch back to the T5. All right, so we'll remove the T5 screw there. And hopefully you already disconnected the battery and then press and held the power button down. Okay, so we got that screw. We're gonna do the same thing on this side. Peel up this adhesive as well. All right, and remove the screw that's under there. All right, so now that you got those two screws up, you'll see that this piece can lift up. And then what we're gonna do to make it easier to replace the battery, let me move these screws out of the way. All right, so we're gonna remove the two screws from the speaker here and the two screws from the other speaker as well. So let's remove this screw. All right. Again, keep all the screws in order because they are different size, shapes, and lengths. All right, we'll remove the two screws from here as well. All right, now that we got those screws out, we're gonna take a thin pry tool like this. Okay, you wanna use something that's thin and flexible. You don't want it to be something that's too rigid, because if you try and pry under here and it doesn't bend, then you can actually puncture the thing. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna clean these speakers. So I'm using this part here to pull up with my thumb, and then on this side, oops, it's hard to see. Let me see, I can't get a good angle here. So on this side, there's dust in that, so I'm just gonna clean that off. Okay, and we're gonna do that on both sides. Lift that up, come on. All right, and then we'll clean that off as well. All right, so now that's all clean. So now we're gonna go ahead and start prying the battery out. Let me zoom out so you can see a little bit better. Okay, the way I do this is I have this battery angled like this. Let me zoom out more so it's easier to see the entire thing. And then I get this pry tool. And for these first little packs here, what I do is I pull this speaker up, and then I get the pry tool underneath the speaker, and I'll start at the top of the pack here, and I'll just use that to cut through the adhesive like that. Then we'll slide it over, go a little to the left, and then do the same thing. All right, again, go over to the left, same thing, again, over to the left. All right, and we'll just keep repeating this. Okay. Like that. All right, so once you cut this whole piece out, you can slide the tool side to side like that, and it should be okay. You can see you can lift it up, but be careful because it is attached here. So we're going to do that again on this side. Same thing. Lift that up, get the tool, slide it through, and cut the adhesive. Okay, just like that. Now we're going to go ahead and cut this. And just keep working our way over. Okay. Just like that. Okay, and then once you do that, again, slide it to make sure it's all cut. Okay, now that we've done that, what we're gonna do, we're gonna go through and cut this side. So we don't need to lift up the speaker anymore, but we do need to lift up this pack, okay? And what I do is I go at an angle this way so that I can work and get through the corner there. Okay, just like that. Okay, just like that. And then we're gonna work our way down the side here. You can't really cut this side up here because the speaker post is in the way. So we're just gonna go ahead and cut the rest, and we're gonna kind of pry up the other side, okay? So again, just run the tool from right to left, doing this. Okay. All right, and then here you can see we cut most of that adhesive. So once you get all of that out, you want to insert the tool as far as you can, and then just slowly pry it up, just like this. And we should be able to, let's see if we can maybe cut a little bit more there. Okay. And then pry this up, and there we go. We can pop that thing out. Okay. Gonna do that again on the other side. This time from left to right. All right, same thing at the angle there. All right. Turn the tool over, and let's slowly start cutting down to the right. All right, some of these adhesives are easier to cut through than others. This one's really easy to cut through, so I'm a little bit worried because that means peeling up this old adhesive residue is going to be a pain. All right, now that we got all of that up, let's go ahead and pry it up. There we go, just like that. Okay, and then these middle packs are a bit more difficult because it's slightly raised, elevated from the base of the thing. So if I move this battery out of the way, here you can see it's elevated. So when we use the tool to cut through the adhesive, you actually have to lift the tool slightly higher up here. Otherwise, you'll just hit this piece here, all right? So we're gonna be doing that. And you want to avoid cutting this way when you do the middle two, because there are some cables under here, and if you go in this direction you could accidentally hit them and damage those cables. So we are gonna, when we start out from this side, we're gonna go that way, and then we can straighten it out. All right, so we're gonna lift up now just the middle one here, and same thing, we're gonna start over here, but I'm gonna again angle it slightly to the left. All right, and then the way you know you went all the way through is you can actually see the tool come through on this side. I don't know if you can see it in the camera, but the tool actually goes all the way through. Oh yeah, you can, kind of. All right, and then we'll just slowly work our way over, just like with the other ones. All right. All right, just like that. And you want to be very careful not to puncture these battery cells because then they can go on fire. All right. So you want to be very careful here. And I'm going kind of fast, but you don't need to go that fast. Take your time with it. Be careful. Be gentle. Okay. Alright, and you might want to do this outside or somewhere where if you do need to throw the thing aside if it catches fire, that you can. If you want to be safe, you can remove this SSD as well. So if you do somehow make it catch on fire, at least you have your data. Alright. So here we go. Alright, so we got that pack all the way up. We're going to go ahead and do this side now. Okay. We're just going to keep going. Okay. Go. Looks like it's all out, so now we're gonna flip it this way and we're gonna lift up all the battery packs. Okay, you want to try and lift them all up at the same time, just like this. Get your hand underneath and lift all of these up. Now we should be able to pull the battery out just like this. Here we go, and this is the old battery, you can see. All right, and we're gonna toss that aside into the junk pile. Alright, so now here you can see this cable. This is the one I was mentioning that you want to be careful with. This is the trackpad connector, and then also under here is the keyboard connector. So if you accidentally hit those with the tool, you can rip them and then you're going to have a problem. It looks like to replace the battery, I am going to actually have to take the SSD out. So, I mean, not the battery, the speaker here. So I'm going to be removing this side of the MacBook as well as all the screws, just so I can lift this side up slightly enough to remove this board here and also this cable, because the cable actually runs underneath the motherboard or the logic board here. Okay, so if you want to do it the lazy way, you don't actually have to scrape off all this old adhesive. What you can do, because usually the battery will come with all this stuff to hold it in place, you can actually just drop this in and you can leave that in there. Oops, not like that. You'll have to actually drop this side in so that these screw mounts go on top, and then you can actually just leave it like that. The extra stuff in there will actually add as like a padding, so that way when the case goes on top, it'll squeeze the two layers together and it'll prevent it from moving around. So that's the lazy way to do it, but usually because they include this adhesive here, I'm just going to actually peel all of this stuff off. So let's see, this one looks like it is going to be a pain to remove, so we're going to see, but it looks like I'm going to have to manually scrape all this stuff off. It doesn't look like I'm going to be able to peel this one. So let's see, I need to buy, I think they have some plastic razors. I need to buy that and then see if I can use that as a scraping tool, because using this, if you see like this kind of adhesive, it doesn't let you peel it off, it just shreds up. So I'm gonna have to just basically scrape all of this stuff off. Okay, and then I'll probably leave the adhesive residue. You can use some rubbing alcohol, I'll try and clean it up a little bit. Yeah, so this adhesive is a real pain to remove. If you want, you can fast forward through this whole process, but I kind of just want to show how much of a pain it is. So you're welcome to fast forward, but again, I just want to show how much work removing this stuff really is if you actually want to cleanly replace the battery. Okay. Alright, and if you want to replace the trackpad, you can actually peel up this metal plate here. I use my pry tool underneath and then I pry here, and then you can actually lift this. Let's see if I can get under there. You can actually lift this piece up. There we go. It's kind of difficult, but you can lift like just the edge of that up, and then once you get that edge up, you can get the tool underneath it, and then you can pry up the whole thing here. Okay, but you do have to peel slowly because you don't want to bend the whole metal plate. You are going to have to put that back later. So I'm just going to show what it looks like under here. I don't need to do a trackpad replacement on this one, but I kind of just want to show because I don't think I've done that on any of my videos yet. Alright, so here you can see, you can peel it up. There's this double stick adhesive here. Alright, and then you want to make sure that this metal plate bends back flat if it did get bent at all. Okay, it doesn't really affect anything. So here you can see then you got these screws here. You can remove the trackpad. You'd remove these three at the top, and then you can actually pull it up this way, and you can actually pop this connector out. It just pops up. Alright, anyways, I'm going to put this back in there. Okay. Alright, now we're just gonna peel off all this old adhesive stuff. So here you can see it took that long just to do that one. So we're gonna have to do this with all of these. Okay. So I don't know, if you have like a plastic razor blade tool, it might be easier. This tool's like round, so it's a little awkward trying to scrape this. Usually you'd probably want like a flat tool would work better. Okay. Huh, this one's actually scraping off, not too difficult. Okay. And then just rotate the thing however makes it easier for you. Man, and I hurt my thumb yesterday, so this is actually hurting my thumb even more. go. And we're just going to continue doing this for all of these foam pad thingies. Again, you can just fast forward through, play it on 2 times, whatever. Okay. Yeah, this is hurting my hand. I kind of want to try with the razor blade, but last time I think it didn't really work too well, so let's see. So this is with a metal razor blade. Yeah, it doesn't work too well. I think I need a plastic razor blade. So we're gonna just continue doing this. Some people recommend putting like rubbing alcohol and stuff in here, but I kind of worry that it'll damage the trackpad. That's why I don't do that. Though I guess you can actually soak this whole area with rubbing alcohol if you take the speaker out, and because it is raised up here, and then you can actually dunk this whole thing in rubbing alcohol, but then the adhesive on the back of this piece will come out as well. So, alright, so we're just going to continue scraping this. So the whole process is mainly just scraping this stuff out. Guinea pigs asking for some lettuce. Okay, this side, I don't know. Too bad I'm not as good with my right hand. I'm left-handed, so let me try with my right hand. Kind of, I guess. I'm getting tired from this. So much scraping. On some of the newer models, you can at least kind of peel up this residue. So it's a little bit easier. You can kind of get a little bit underneath. And then once you get underneath, you can peel it up. But this one, it completely just shreds as you try and get this out. Okay. Alright, so we got that. Next side. Guess I have to use my right hand for this. Doesn't work too well. Let me try with my left hand. I'm gonna do it this way. Alright, that's working. This is tiring. Okay. Keep going. Again, if you want, you can just leave all the adhesive and just leave it without peeling those things off. But if people open it, they're gonna be like, what is this? So it's kind of, you want to make sure, at least I want to make sure it's nice and held in properly with the adhesive. Though if you don't put the adhesive, it does make replacing the batteries in the future a lot easier. So if it's your own personal computer, it's up to you how you want to do it. Oh, my hand. So, need a better tool for this kind of thing. Okay, got most of that. Let's get this one. Ow. Okay. Let's see if I can do it in a one pass. Sometimes I can. It makes it a little bit easier this way. This is like cutting into my fingers. I need a better way to, there has to be a better way to do this. But I don't get these models too often anymore because the 2012 I think they're slowly stopping support for. So it's not too big of a deal. Go. Okay, let's get this one. Okay, last few strips on the top here. Ow. Hopefully these ones are not more difficult to remove. This is actually more difficult to remove, I think. Okay, let's try this way. Yeah, it's so much more difficult to remove these. Geez, only halfway done with one. Yep. Probably best to just leave the adhesive if you're doing this, because this is so annoying. Actually scraping up the metal plate. Okay. Okay. All right. Continue. I wish this one would just peel up like the other one. No, it's not gonna happen. This method actually works better. Continue scraping this off. And some of this is already peeled off, so I don't have to go do the whole length. Alright, halfway done. Man. Oh, that's not good for my hand. Alright. Sorry, no, my head's getting in the way. Let me zoom in some more. Oh man, okay. Let's try with my right hand. Do that as well with my right hand. Whoa, cat's going crazy outside. All right, last one. And we still have to do the speaker. Okay. finally got all the adhesive residue off, or foam. Alright, so now to get the residue out, the sticky stuff, what you do is you get a paper towel, get some like 91% isopropyl rubbing alcohol, get the paper towel, get it soaked with the rubbing alcohol, and then you can kind of just wipe this. Alright, this is kind of a long process as well, but the thin layer of adhesive should come out pretty nicely. You might have to use several paper towels to do this. Alright, so you can see this one actually comes out a lot easier. Okay, and then when you do that, just flip it over. Alright, add some more rubbing alcohol. And clean the other sides. Oops, sorry. And you can do this until it's completely clean if you want. It'll take probably 3 or 4 goes. Okay. Alright, so since I got those two dirty, I'm going to flip it over now this way. Add some more rubbing alcohol. Clean this one up. Alright. You want to be careful not to damage the cables, of course. Just keep cleaning. Just keep cleaning. Alright, that probably has enough residue on it. Let's get another paper towel. Let me zoom out some more. Okay. Clean this off. If you want, you can get a dry one to wipe it up right after, or flip it over like this. Alright, continue cleaning this stuff off. And once you got it almost completely clean, then you should be good to go. If you want, you can clean it until it's completely 100% clean, but it's not necessary. Okay. Alright, so we got that. Let's flip it over. Alright, there's small little bits of stuff still stuck here, but you can leave them if you want. It's up to you how clean you want to have it. Alright, that's pretty much done on that side. I'm going to finish up on this one. Alright, so that's pretty much good. I'm going to flip the paper towel the other way and then just clean off the residue. Okay. Clean enough. Alright. Use this to dry it up. Get out the little bits of stuff that are still there. Okay, so we got that all cleaned up. Now we're going to replace this speaker. So let's do that. We're going to use the T5 or Torx 5 screwdriver. So what we're going to do, again, after you remove the battery, hopefully you press and held the power button. So to remove the speaker, we're going to remove the SSD here first using the T5 or Torx 5 screwdriver. Take that screw out, lift the SSD up slightly, and then you can wiggle and pull it back. Alright, there's one screw hidden under here. We're going to remove that screw. Okay, again, we're going to want to try and keep all the screws in order because they are different size, shapes, and lengths. And if you get them mixed up, you can actually damage your computer. So if you can get it, you can lift this connector up. So to disconnect this, what I do is I get my fingernail as close to the connector as possible, and then while holding the board down, you just lift this up like that. All right, so here you can see this connector is trapped under here, so it's a little bit tricky to remove. There's also another screw hidden under here that we're gonna have to remove. But if you can peel this up and get it out this way, you're welcome to remove the speaker this way, okay? So if you want, I did another video doing this, but this way, if you can kind of undo the adhesive and then kind of slide it side to side, you can possibly get it to slip out this way. I would probably remove a few more screws just so we can lift this board a little higher here. So let's see, let me zoom out a little bit here. So I'm actually let's remove this screw here. Let's see how much we can lift this board up now, a little bit better. Okay, so that's probably enough. If you lift it up, that you can squeeze this cable through here. So here you can see I squeezed the cable out there. Otherwise, you're gonna have to take about all these screws so that you can lift the board up, okay? So here you can see I was able to pop that out. And now we're going to have to just remove this board to get this part that's hidden under here. So let's disconnect this cable. I just used my fingernails under like that. And like this, same thing, pop that up. We're gonna remove the fan here. So let's actually peel this back. All right, you wanna do it slowly. There's an adhesive holding it, there we go. Just like that, and let's disconnect these as well. The wireless antennas, I just go underneath the tail using my fingernails like this. You can use pry tools or whatever you want, tweezers, okay? So get underneath the tail and then just pull it straight up. Same thing with all three, under the tail and pull it straight up, okay? Just like that. And then to remove this, there's an adhesive. So what I do is I like to unthread this first to make it easier. Let's actually remove the hinge screws here. So using the T5 screwdriver, I go under between this rubber piece. There's two screws and there's an adhesive. So between there, I get the screwdriver. Oops, and then I try and pry this up. So let's see here. The adhesive actually stayed there. Normally I can actually peel this adhesive up, but for some reason it's stuck there, so I guess they put it more to one side this time, so I'm going to peel it up from this side. And there we go. Looks like this adhesive is too old. It's probably not going to stick anymore, but we'll see if we try and put it back what happens. Alright, I'm going to put it there for now. Just try and stick it back to the bottom of this rubber piece. Okay. Alright, and now we're going to get the T8 screwdriver to remove those. Okay, let's remove these two screws here. I'm going to also put some red thread locker under there afterwards, just to hold the screws back tight so that they don't come loose. Alright, let's switch back to the T5. And then what you do is you can lift this cable up. And when you're lifting this up, you can get underneath this piece here. And now we can actually peel up this adhesive. You can move the antenna cable out from this thing, all right, and slide it out of the way. Then you want to get as close to the adhesive as you can, grab the thing, and then pull it this way as you lift it to keep the cable flat as you can, because you don't want to crease it. All right, so now we got that. I was also pushing my finger down here so I don't just yank it up really hard. Okay, and then to remove the EyeSight, or this is the EyeSight webcam connector. So to remove that, what I do is I grab this and then as close as I can to the connector, and then I kind of just wiggle it as I pull it, okay? Just like this, side to side, and as you can see, the connector just walks itself out really easily. Okay, so let's zoom back out. All right, now we're gonna get all these screws out. So we're gonna remove the wireless card here so we can, actually we don't need to remove the wireless card, but let's remove the fan. So there's 3 screws holding the fan in place. Again, try and keep all these screws in order because they are different size, shapes, and lengths. Okay, I just put them on the desk in the pattern that I take them out so I can easily figure out where they came from. All right, one more screw here. All right, and then to remove this fan, you just flip the latch here. Let me zoom in so you can see that better. Flip that latch with my fingernail, okay? Make sure the latch goes up, just like that. And then this fan, you can see it comes up. And I use this, I don't know what that part is. I think it's like a thermal sensor. So I use that to kind of push the fan connector out. So I kind of use that and push that just like this. All right, so there we go. If you want, you can take out the wireless card to make it a little bit easier to remove this fan. Okay, so now we're gonna remove this connector here. Let's zoom out a little bit, just so everything's visible. All right, let's actually remove this screw up here holding this board so we don't forget. Okay, and then there's one screw down here. Okay, and that should be all the screws holding this in place. So here you can see this board comes out. We're gonna remove this connector. Just flip this latch up. I use my fingernail underneath and then just pop it up like that. And then you can use the 2 ends of the this latch at the bottom. Put your pressure at the bottom there. So pull it out like that, and there we go. That connector is disconnected. We're gonna have to lift this board up to make it easier to pull this connector out, and then we can pull this board out. All right, now we can actually disconnect or remove the last screw here for the speaker. So this speaker was making like a buzzing noise. And then to disconnect or remove the speaker completely, there's a foam thing here that kind of sticks to the board or this case. So you want to slowly pull it up and it will peel off, and usually that foam will just tear, but it's not a big deal. So just slowly peel it up just like that, and there we go. So this is the foam that I was talking about. You can see it leaves a little bit of residue there. Okay, and the reason these break is usually the outer side. I can't really see it on this one. Oh, here we go. So I don't know if you'll be able to see it in the camera, but if I push on this, there's actually a crack right up there on this lip here. So it's really hard to see it in camera, but yeah, there's a crack up there. All right, so anyways, we're gonna get the replacement speaker. What did I do with that? This is the bad one. What did I do with the replacement one? I just had it right here. Oh, here we go. Okay, so we got the replacement speaker. Okay, we're just gonna put that back over here. You want to put this side down first, so you put it at an angle like this, slide it over, and then drop it into place. Okay, get the screw, and we'll put that screw back in. If you want, you can put the other 2 screws down here as well, just so you make sure that everything is lined up properly. Okay. And then we'll just tighten these screws down. Alright, just like that. You can actually leave this speaker connector on top, but if you want it to be the same way as before, then you'll want to tuck this back underneath. So lift the board back up, and then get this cable to go back in this gap. You have to kind of twist it. Let me see if I can show this better. Okay, so while you're lifting this up, get this cable and you want to twist it so that it's vertical, and then we're gonna slowly get it underneath this board again, just like that. All right, there we go. And then we're gonna plug this cable back in here, just like that. Just line it up and push it down. And there we go. So we got that speaker all reconnected. We're gonna put this board back in. Let's zoom out. Okay, again, you wanna reconnect this first because it's easier that way. get it lined up, push it in. You can use the tabs to kind of help pull it, and then put the latch back over. Insert it back at this angle with this side going down first. All right, get it all lined up. Then we're going to grab the 2 screws. While you're kind of pushing it towards the casing, we're going to tighten these screws in, just like that, and like this. Alright, so now we got all those screws in. You're going to want to tuck the iSight camera back in, tuck the webcam cameras back in as well. We're going to plug the iSight camera cable. Oh, actually, let's put the fan back in here. If you want, you can clean this because there's dust under here. Okay. Alright, so we'll get the fan back in. Make sure the latch is up. Get that cable underneath. Alright, and then use this part that's sticking up to push that back into place. Just like that. Okay, make sure it's lined up. Push the latch back over. Get the fan back in place. You can push these 2 back in place. Let's put the fan screws back in. I'm going to loosely put the fan screws in first, just like this. Alright. Once you get the fan screws in, I like to pull the fan as close to this as possible. Alright, and then we'll tighten those screws down. Okay. More dust there. Alright. Don't forget to put back the screw that was underneath the SSD here. Alright. And then we also removed the screw in this corner here. Don't forget that one as well. Make sure none of these connectors somehow came loose. Okay, so now we're gonna put this back in. Get the, let's see if I can do a close up to make this easier to see. Okay, I'm gonna put the iSight camera cable. You might have to bend it down a little bit. Oops. Okay, put that cable, line it up. And once you get that cable in place, you're going to want to use your screwdriver to walk it back in. So just like this, go to the top, bottom, and slowly walk it in, same way we wiggled it out. All right, now we're going to put back the wireless antennas. To do that, just line them up. Okay, if you want, you can push down the adhesive here. All right, so line up the things. And then you'll know it's lined up because if you move your fingernail or finger on top, it doesn't move around, and then you can push it down. All right, just do this for all 3. All right, here you can see it locks in place once you drop it in right, and then you can push it down. And last cable here. Come on. Okay. And it's in, push it down. Make sure those are all flush. Okay. All right, now we can put this rubber piece back on top. Make sure these parts go down, and then this sticks on top of it. Let's zoom back out. Again, we're gonna put back these screws with some thread locker. Okay. This, again, we have to use the T8 screwdriver. The old speaker, you want to mark it as bad or put an X or something on it so you know that it's bad. Okay. All right. Then we're going to get the T8 screws and we're going to put a tiny bit of this thread locker stuff on it. And at first I'll just put it in loosely because I want to make sure both screws go in. Okay. Just like that, and then tighten it down. Make sure that the wires are all routed properly. Okay, tighten that completely. Alright, so I think Apple actually puts this adhesive thing to prevent the screws from spinning around, but once you peel it off, it doesn't stick back on properly anyways. So now we're going to put the SSD back in. I like to push against both the connector and the SSD to make sure that all the force isn't just pushing in one direction. Alright, I'm going to switch back to the T5. We'll put this screw in. Okay, let's zoom out. We're going to now put back the battery. Okay, so what you want, let's put back these speaker screws because we're not going to have to lift that up anymore. Okay, and then to put back the battery, what you want to do, you leave this adhesive on and we're going to peel off this. Okay. Alright, then we're going to flip it over like this. Make sure you're holding it up, slot it in like this, slowly lower it down, and make sure to look over the top to make sure that the screw holes line up for these up here. Okay, it's hard to do this while recording, my head's going to get in the way, but you get the idea. Drop the battery pack in. Alright, so there we go. Should be lined up. Get the T5 screws and put them in there. If you want, you can get the adhesive from the old battery to put back on top of here afterwards. But first we're going to go ahead and connect the battery to make sure everything is good. Alright, a lot of times this cable is too long out this way. So what you want to do is you want to bend it back, and then you want to, let's see if I can zoom in to kind of show this. So here you can see the cable's too long, so you have to actually fold it here. So you bend it back all the way, and then you push this down, all right, just like that, and then now you can see it reaches, okay? And then to make it easier, you want to line up the top edge of the connector here with the top edge of the connector on the board. And then once you get both top parts, once you get both top parts lined up, you can push it down. There we go. And that's pretty much it. We're going to test it and do a PRAM and SMC reset. Again, if you want, let me grab the old battery. If you want, you can peel this label off of the old battery completely and put it on the new one. I'm going to do that just so it looks nicer. Okay. So on the replacement battery, they actually put a foam thing there to kind of help keep it so that pressure pushes it and makes sure it doesn't pop out. Alright, so we're going to put this in, and we're just going to put that back on there. Okay, we got that. Alright, so now we're going to get the bottom cover. I'm going to put this back on. Let's zoom back out. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and get back the Pentalobe 1.2 or the P5 screwdriver and put back all these screws in the base. Just like this. Had some customers messaging me, so hopefully they're not here or waiting. This was a long repair. Alright, and then I'm going to show the PRAM and SMC reset. Alright, so I just did a MacBook Air earlier, so it's basically the same thing. Usually I do the PRAM and SMC reset anytime I make any hardware changes, or even if I redo the operating system. It's a nice thing to do. It resets things like the fan settings, what else does it reset? It resets the brightness, the volume, and other things like that. Alright, so now we're going to plug this in. If the battery is less than 90%, the charge light should go to orange from the green. Okay. Oh, I don't want it to turn on yet, so I'm holding the option key. Let's see, it should go to the regular boot menu so I can just shut it off. Yep, okay. So I'm going to turn this off. Alright, so what you want to do is to do the SMC reset, Control Option Shift on the left side. While you're holding those, press the power button. The light will go from orange to green, then back to orange. Okay, and it won't usually turn itself back on, sometimes it does. But you should see it goes back to orange, and that's how you know you did the SMC reset properly. So now I'm going to do a PRAM reset. To do a PRAM reset, what you do is first have your computer off, or you can do a restart. While the computer is starting up, you do Command Option PNR on boot. You'll hear the chime, just keep holding it. Your screen should flash off. At that point you can let go, or you can just keep holding it. Then you'll hear the chime a second time, and that's how you know you did the PRAM reset properly. And that's all there is to this. Hopefully this video helped you guys. I know most of it was just scraping off adhesive. Hopefully you were just fast forwarding through that if you didn't want to watch through it. But anyways, yep, like, subscribe, help others find my videos, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.